Listen, I don't know. Hold on, listen. I don't know whether you've been along to a gig before, but what happens, right? As little glimpse inside the beef curtains of what happens at a gig, right? What happens is they say it's the last song, then they do the last song, then they go like just behind the wall or something, they wait for about 30 seconds, if people are still clapping, they come out and do some more. But listen, I'm not going to fucking go through all that fucking palaver. I'll just, at the end, when I finish this one, I'll walk over here, if people are still up for it, then I'll just come straight and do a few more, save all the fucking charade. So, this one I'm going to finish on. This is the last song because this is the song that sort of led to me packing it all in first time round, because when I wrote this song, in all honesty, I didn't think I was ever going to top it, and I sort of haven't. And also I wasn't sure I actually really wanted to. So this song sort of led to me packing it in, but he's also the reason I'm sort of back here, and the reason I came back in the pandemic, and the reason I'm back here now. And can I just tell you this story that sort of explains everything in a roundabout way. I want to take you back to the year 2000. I was working for Essex Council, if you remember. Big bearded Northern Irish bloke, Pete, my boss. He got to choose 5 people who worked for the council youth service to take to a racism conference. This isn't the funny bit.
It's a funny startup.
A Buchenwald concentration camp in Germany, and he chose me. He was a great judge of character, Pete. He really enjoyed his time working for the youth service. So Pete chose me because at the time I was doing some posters and design stuff as well, and so he chose me to go along and help with the presentations and stuff that would come at the end of it. So we went along to this racism conference, and we done seminars and workshops, and you learnt about a lot of fucking bleak stuff that went on in the concentration camps, and you had talks with survivors from the concentration camps, and you heard some of the darkest, fucking bleakest, most evil things that humans have ever done to other humans. But in amongst all that darkness, one thing that shone through was the light of humour that got people through these dark, dark times. So on the final day of the conference, we were all invited to go along and see a theatre piece for a local theatre group in the Black Box Theatre that had been kind of converted from the old SS barracks. So we all kind of filed in, and I sat down next to Big Pete. And the lights went down, it all went quiet, and the play started. And all these young women came onto the stage wearing these beautiful coloured dresses, and all of a sudden removed their dresses, and underneath they were just wearing like black top and black trousers. I guess to kind of signify their entry into the concentration camp and their loss of their clothing and possessions and individuality that came with it. At this point, I leant over to Big Pete and I whispered in the style of Beavis and Butthead, "Give me a stiffy."
Which one, Beavis or Butthead? They look very different.
I'm not proud. But what happened next was Pete gasped, and I realised very quickly he was trying not to laugh. And I'm like, oh fucking hell. And him trying not to laugh set me off, and we just sat there, the pair of us, we sat there for 3 minutes. So with our hands over our faces, next to each other, but facing away, just going, trying to hold a laugh in this serious fucking sombre situation. And then every time I managed to get myself together, I'd feel Pete's arm go next to me, and it would set me off again. And then all of a sudden, Pete just exploded like a kettle whistling. I'm like, oh fuck, and it just done me, and I got up and I walked out, and I walked across the courtyard, and as far away as I could get, and I just sat on the wall, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed until I was crying with laughter. It's the most I've ever laughed. Half hour, 40 minutes later, the theatre started kicking out, so I went over to make a beeline for Pete and apologise. And as I've got up close to him, he looked utterly ashamed of himself. And before I could even say sorry, in his broad Northern Irish accent, he He said, the trouble is, I do fundamentally find it very funny.
That's gonna fucking set you off anyway.
And this is my problem, it might not be okay. It's probably not okay, but what you meant to do if you find it funny?